to the cloud. We're back. Welcome back to the next episode of the Doggone Truth About Rescue. This episode is going to be a recap of 2025 because somehow we are already here. And we have three very special guests to us that have not been on, I don't think,
This year.
in this year.
Yeah.
So we're going to get you on before we move into 2026. So we have Jane, Judy, and Kathy. And I'll kind of let each of you introduce yourselves for our new listeners and what your current role is with Always and Forever. So, Kathy, we'll start with you.
Okay. I'm Kathy Copeland, and I am a board member. Um, my role is kind of all over the place, as I think we all are a bit at times. Um, Mostly this year, I've worked with getting Wichita open. Um, I worked with a woman in Wichita who is having a hard time getting one of her dogs out of the shelter alive because it had been deemed dangerous, and that took 51 days. Um, a little bit of work down at Osawatomie too, and just general stuff.
Very cool. Well, thank you for hopping on, Kathy.
Sure.
Jane, we'll bump down to you.
I am currently finance coordinator. I've had a few roles in the organization, but this is where I've been the longest. So basically, I deal with all things numbers, all the ensure the records are up to date and reflect our financial position, and monitor the revenue sources. Review the bills, make sure there's support for every payment. A lot of tracking and analyzing data.
Not stressful at all, probably. I'm sure you sleep so well every single night.
Mhm.
And Judy, last but certainly not least.
Sorry, I'm croaky tonight. I've been a long-time volunteer, not quite as long as Jane, but very close. I spent about 4 or 5 years coordinating the vet transport drives, and was on the road almost every day, like our friend Greg with his Freedom Rides. Recently, I switched over to assisting Julie McNamara, our medical coordinator, in working with all the fosters and the dogs that we're taking care of through our local vets and through Julie. And it's been a lot easier on my back, my knees, and my car. And I think I joined the board about 3, maybe 4 years ago.
I'll start. I know we're going to dive into it though. Can one of you kind of give a description of what it means to be on the board with Always and Forever?
Sorry, I'm laughing. Um, I'm the newest board member, so I probably have the least amount of experience in being able to say what we do. But pretty much any executive decision making, any future plans, problems, things going well. Um, Pretty much a sounding board for Jen a lot of the time. Um, we argue a little bit sometimes. Uh, I guess that's my bit. I'm sure the others have more to say.
Just all a group effort, all major decisions are all, that's how they're all made. It's not one person, it's a whole team.
Jane has the toughest job of all of us because she is constantly putting together not only all of our financial reports quarterly and annually, but she's also making sure that we're registered as a 501c3 charity in multiple states.
Mm.
That's a tough job. Uh, it's 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 interesting. I am the designated worrier on the board. Every time Jen brings up something, I worry about it, and she realizes that, and then she has to talk me down. So every board needs a worrier, and I'm it.
How many members are on the board?
There's
Six, right?
six.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it always six. Does that include Jen?
It does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I just always thought that it would have to be an odd number for
Well,
votes.
maybe it is. Do we have seven? Scott, Craig, JoJo,
Sue,
Sue. Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah,
seven of us.
actually
There's
there
Okay.
seven
is.
of us.
Yeah.
If you count
Right.
Jen, there's seven.
I'm sure. What does it take to be on the board? Are you voted in? Do you volunteer? Say if Cyrita and I ever got interested in being on the board. Cy, would you do that?
Oh no, I wouldn't be able to.
I don't know if I could either. But what is the process if someone was interested?
Um, I know how I became a board member. Jen called me up and said, "You want to be on the board?"
It's really, yeah,
It's like,
really an appointment.
well, it's like, well, everybody else okay with that, you know? So, yeah, I think the rest of the board members had to be okay with it, but yeah, I think it.
that's how it happened, I think, for everyone. I think Jen's word were if I get hit by a bus, et cetera, et cetera. So
What? Okay. Okay, so then now that we have a basis of what the board is, who is on the board, whoever wants to take it first, what were some of the biggest decisions the board has made for 2025?
Well, I'd say going forward with Wichita was a big one for sure. A lot of time, a lot of money, kind of full on. How fast can we go and get this put together? I think initially it was, do we want to do this in Wichita? And I think we all have had feelings about the need in Wichita. It was just how do we get to that point? So that was a big one, I think. And then doing the lighthouses in Osawatomie has been another really big decision for us to go forward with that. And none of them have been painless. I think we all have a certain level of angst and fear going, as we jump in into the deep end. But I think when all push comes to shove, we all believe so strongly in the mission that we have that we usually find a way. So.
So with the Wichita one, because it was such a big decision and overtaking, how long does a decision like that usually take to
Well,
finally vote on it?
sometimes our decisions are really fast, but
You're very quick, and then the actions are very quick too. We move.
yeah,
And
Jen.
Jane, how does that make you always feel if decisions being made, but then trying to figure out the finances to support it?
Yeah, it can be challenging, but we do always find a way. So it's hard to trust that that will happen, but it really does, we've just got so many amazing supporters out there that just really keep us going and help us do what we do. So,
So
thankfully.
keep supporting everybody who's listening.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Judy.
it's pretty amazing actually, because there are times when we look at it and say, this is totally impossible. This is a crazy idea. And one by one, we're all convinced and we turn around and we have the most wonderful supporters in the world who truly believe, and it doesn't take a giant charitable contribution. It takes $10 from everyone. And it really has saved us so many times, and it saved so many animals.
That's absolutely true. Because when you look at, I mean, the donations, there are so many $5 donations, that come in. And it's just the consistency. And then, it just all combines. So yeah, we are super grateful for every dollar.
Jane, we'll go into this topic since we're on it. What are the typical monthly bills? I know Always and Forever has been very transparent, but comparing 2025 to 2024, how much increase there has been with undertaking all of these bigger projects?
Yeah. Well,
and more dogs and cats.
a very big increase this year has been vet expense. There just has been such an increase in animals and severe medical need. So, and typically we were their last hope. So, a lot of they require advanced diagnostic surgery, hospital stays, all of that. So, really, because of the amount of those cases, our vet expense is 50% higher than last year. So it's really, really a huge jump. So, and that's in addition to just, I mean, we've taken in, over 800 animals. And of course, we do, the routine vetting on all of them. And with the seniors, there's, the added blood work, but that has really affected us this year. Our total vet expenses are about 643,000 through the end of November. So we are averaging about, so I was just doing the average a minute ago, about close to 60,000 a month.
I knew you would bring your numbers. I see
And just that
your
expenses.
notebook right
Yep.
there.
But yeah, so I mean, that includes a lot. We've also been able to, spay and neuter 492 animals, which is
Wow.
awesome. Yeah, 178 dogs, 314 cats. And we've had 18 dogs complete heartworm treatment, which is amazing. Um, so it's a lot, but and it's amazing that we have been able to fund that. So that is probably one of our biggest increases. Um, I mean, it's just what else? And then our expansion, of course, a lot of leasehold improvements and maintenance and all of that. So that's another big increase. But I mean, yeah, our financials are out there, of course, public record, but we easily spend over 2 million just to run all the locations.
And what number are we at officially of animals saved?
You mean in total since we
Yes.
opened, or?
Yep, in total.
So I think ones that we have taken into our care, it's a little over 6,000, but we have assisted in so many other saves and transporting, and that I'm sure that is probably over 7,000, including all of those. So,
Yeah, I think I've even heard up to 8,000. I know that's
oh,
one of
it
the
could
things
be.
that
Yeah.
Kelly Fry does such a great job with is when we don't have space, she has a network of other rescues and relationships that she's formed, and we find a way to get those animals moved and to safety, and it's pretty phenomenal. I think we really have a sense of desire to support other rescues and not compete with them. I think that's very unusual, and that we have that philosophy, and I'm really proud that we do that.
I think Judy had something to say.
I think one experience I gained from my days and years as a vet driver is the vets that we work, the network of vets we work with are always surprised because they're used to working with rescues who sort of do the minimum. They're out there to save animals, but they do the minimum because they're working on a small budget, and we are a small budget too. But almost every vet I've ever worked with has at one time or another said to me, "You guys are the most amazing organization." Because if a dog needs something, you're all in, you do it. We do have decision calls. We have a medical team call. And whenever we make a large, an expensive decision, we have 9 people on the phone saying, can we do this? Should we do this? The answer is almost always yes, but we never, no one person makes that decision. It's a group decision. And I think that's what makes us a special organization because we jump in, we know the risk, and the vets and the public really recognize that. We really do care for we care for dogs as though they are our own.
What I love seeing with those stories too that come through is the follow-up after they get adopted and how it really impacts their lives that they wouldn't otherwise had if they ended up in another shelter or stuck at Wichita. along those lines. Um, Similar, because I know those are challenging decisions to make. So I'm going to ask, what challenge this year pushed you the furthest out of your comfort zone, but ended in a positive result? We'll keep it positive.
Well, come on, guys, jump in.
You can take some time to think. I can cut out the dead
I'll be
space.
honest. Putting up all 11 or 12, or I think currently 14 lighthouses at once was my biggest departure from my comfort zone. I really wanted to test the water. I wanted to stick our toe in and do two and see how that worked.
That did explode so fast.
Yes, it does. And you drive into Oz now and you see this beautiful place with the big play yards and the fences and the line of the lighthouses. And trust me, not only was Jane up at night worrying about finances, but I was up at night in the middle of the night saying, what if this doesn't get done? What are we doing with the dogs? What if they're cold? What if they're hot? And so it takes a lot of faith to jump and know that there's help out there to assist us, because things do go wrong. Nothing ever goes according to plan, just as if you were remodeling your own house. There's always hiccups along the way. And for me, that was my biggest leap of faith this year.
Before Kathy or Jane go, is the open house this weekend for Oz?
Yes,
Yes. Sai, did you still want to go?
Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk. I think it's from
Okay.
11. I think it starts at 11,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
So, Jane.
I mean, honestly, that mine was totally the lighthouses as well. Just and from a financial perspective too, and also just wondering how they were going to work, and it was a bit of a challenge, but I think now we have it all ironed out. But just, on top of the regular expenses too, to add that definitely did keep me up some nights. But as always, I'm glad we moved ahead.
Is yours the same, Kathy?
No, I don't know. I guess I have blind faith at times with some of that stuff. Um, I, I tend to be kind of, let's do it, let's go. When it comes to some of those things, I think probably the thing that I struggled the most with this year was the one I mentioned earlier about the trying to save the dog in Wichita. That uh, was the asked for help from a homeless woman, and realizing that we needed to get legal help alongside that, being a little concerned about setting that precedent, because we don't want that to become the norm for us. That's not our role, but at the same time knowing that she needed help. So, and then it was such a long drawn out mess, and going to court multiple times, being very frustrated with how the court system works against people who are on in hard times, and how easily it is for a dog to just get put down. And that probably kept me awake nights trying to figure out how do I help save this dog, And it turned out well. The dog is home. The woman has moved and will never return to Wichita again, she says. And she sends me pictures, and it's just so sweet. And I just think, how in the world did they ever think this was a deemed dangerous dog? But anyway, that's mine for the year for sure.
I love that story. There was so much in Wichita too. Between Wichita and Oz, I feel our first few seasons we're talking Homestead East, well, and then before Homestead East, the land by Always and Forever, then the purchase of Homestead East, and none of us could have predicted what we'd be talking about this year with putting a location in Wichita and then building the lighthouses at Oz. So it's it's cool to look back and then have these episodes to reflect on it. Let's see. I have a few questions lined up here. Which one do I want to ask? Okay. What moment this year, let's switch topics. So not Wichita or the lighthouses,
Mm-hmm.
best captured the organization's growth or resilience?
Ooh.
Like what changes, and they could be like small changes that have just like either procedure based or social media.
And Cy and Sheila, you both worked at the Little Gray Barn, and so you were there in that kind of ramshackle place that we were able to lease.
Judy, we saged it. We would sage.
You sure did. You you sure did. We that was a place that was waiting to burn down,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I did have sleepless nights. But that place for the past however many years, I mean, you guys were there working, and we saved so many dogs because we had the capability to not have to board them anymore. And that's why we had the Little Gray Barn, as imperfect as it was. And I think the sense of relief uh, when we decided that we could have the capability to get out of that leased property that was literally falling down and will probably be condemned. Um, but the people, the faith of the people who showed up there, and even now we had to move these dogs to Oz, over an hour and a half south, and it takes such resilience on our staff and our volunteers who were all committed to being up in that area of KCMO and are now waiting to be able to move to a new property, but they are making the trek and making this happen. And we know our dogs are safe in the meantime. We know the dog. We are not worried about an electrical fire every night, and we are so fortunate to have the commitment of all of the people who made that move with us.
We had Megan on in the last episode, and just her viewpoint on it and listening to her was so glass half full. Um, in her because she's driving what hour and a half, 2 hours every day. She was like, but it's highway, it could be worse. It's not city, and was just so resilient and open to it. So we give so much credit for the staff that is making that transition.
Well, and one of the things that is, I have to give kudos to our team members, our staff, is that we basically took two separate teams that were used to functioning independently, and we've required them to become one team overnight. And change is really tough. And they've handled it like troopers. And I'm not saying there haven't been issues, because there always will be with anything, but everybody's sticking it out. Everybody's trying to make it work, and change is tough, but they're doing it.
Jane, did you think of anything?
Yeah, I was just thinking that, we just never give up. I mean, um, when we were denied to be able to expand in Spring Hill, that was a real blow. But, we just picked up and we found other directions to go in. So, we have just moved on. So it just never really gets us down. I mean, it can be a challenge to do everything we want to do with, financial considerations and like construction constraints and timelines and all of that. But, we just always just keep pushing forward just because the need is so great. And so we have to.
It's like we almost find this space. We're gonna continue to grow, and then we find this space that is welcoming for
Mhm.
that to be allowed. And like especially Oz, when Jen talks about it and what it used to be in the renovations
Mhm.
that were put into it to then the shift completely to the lighthouses of staying to grow there. But
Well, the fact that people we were fighting uphill to be accepted in the community with our fight with the Miami County, but now in every location we are now in, we're being welcomed, and so
Mhm.
kind of have to say to yourself, which we do daily. Maybe this was meant to be, and maybe there's another path for our 40 acres next to us, which we use daily, and it's wonderful for the dogs. But we're not fighting people who don't want us there anymore. We are working with people who are welcoming us and needing us, and that's a wonderful position to be in because it's so positive.
It just makes the whole environment better in general. Nobody wants to show up where you're not wanted. And for the dogs, they feed off that energy. So, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Internally or externally, what surprised you guys the most this year?
Hmm. I'd have to say this, what my surprises tend to be, I get a phone call at like 6 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night. Jen has some idea and it's like, why don't we do this? And it's like, okay. It surprises me that I can jump in as quickly and get on the bandwagon as quickly as I do, because I tend to be actually usually more cautious. But I guess I'm just a big believer in what we're doing, and so far everything just works out. It's like, yeah, the problems come and we figure out a way to get past them. So, yeah,
M-
that'd be me. That'd be
Me and
mine.
Sheila are all too familiar with that idea. She threw us in on this podcast, and how many years are we in, Sheila?
God, this is like our fourth.
Yeah, but we're
Oh,
ending
we should
season
make the
5.
announcement. Um, Guys, we hit 50,000 downloads.
I saw that. That's awesome.
So I don't know if that's a big number or a small number in the world of
I
podcasts,
feel
but
like
for
that's big
us,
for us.
that's big for us. So kudos for us.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and we would be on road trips with Jen for football and the things and ideas that would come out of. I'm like, should I be taking notes right now? Like, what are we doing? Jane, what about you?
What surprised me the most? You know, one thing that has surprised me over the past year, and I mean, it really shouldn't, but kind of not really a shift, but we have taken in so many mom and babies that was not typical of, what we used to do. So, I mean, Judy might know how many, but it's a pretty phenomenal amount. And so that has been very different and surprising this past year, because that you think you're getting one and then you've got 12, at once. So,
And it always seemed to be multiple litters at the same time. It was never
yes.
just one litter.
Yeah, that's been a lot, and then finding, the totally vetting them and finding the fosters, and um it's been very fun though. It's been a very fun change, but a definite surprise.
It's been I think we looked it up that we took in five dogs in trouble and ended up with 36 dogs within 3 to 4 months, with the moms and the puppies, and every one of those puppies has five different medical steps in order to be uh, eligible for adoption. So you multiply by that, that puts an enormous load on the vet team and the foster placement team
Mhm.
and the adoption team. And I think what surprises me is how well it's actually worked, because we've not only found homes for all of these senior dogs or difficult dogs or stray dogs, we've found homes for all of these mamas and puppies. And it's really fun. I will add, one of the neatest things about working with the medical team now is having everybody who adopted a puppy or fostered a puppy come together down at the Little Red Barn to get vaccinated. And it's like puppy reunion. The people who adopt the puppies are so happy to see their siblings. They're all trading phone numbers. They're all trading stories. And it's growing the Always and Forever family in a whole different direction that we never intended to do.
I never thought about it that way though, too, is usually when you go out and buy a puppy, you don't necessarily know where the other litter mates have gone or ended up or who purchased them. But with how it's set up with Always and Forever and posting the announcements and then the going through the whole process of adopting, it truly is a way to build that network and keep up with where all their brothers and sisters go.
I actually discovered a little trick because it's my job to try to convince all these people to come together, to drop everything, come together at a very specific hour, either on the weekend or the middle of the day, to get their puppy vaccinated. And when you go after them one at a time, they're all going, "Oh, I don't know if I can do,
Mhm.
I need somebody to help me." But instead, I send out a thing and say, "Puppy parents, now's your chance. You can meet puppy siblings. Let's go. We're all going to have a great time." And no one refuses. They are so eager to be there. They get there early. It's amazing.
Love. Good job, Judy. Anything else on 2025? I have one more question regarding it, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about 2026.
One of the things that I thought was very exciting this past year was when um, Jen and Beth went to Arkansas and were in the flood, um, and brought back dogs. That they went in. They were going to a game,
It
football
was
game.
down to Mississippi. She
Yeah,
didn't make it.
yeah. They didn't make it because it was flooding, and they
It's
had to
like
turn
tornado.
back. And so while they were there, they crossed paths with other people that in rescue. And then the next thing we know, here comes a bunch of Arkansas, or yeah, it was Arkansas dogs. And it was like wherever they go, we end up with more dogs. And so that was kind of worrisome, to say the least. Um,
Mhm.
they weren't real sure whether they were going to get back, but it makes for a good adventure.
You never know what's gonna turn up.
You bet.
Jane or Judy?
And cats. What amazes
Oh,
me is on our Tuesday, Friday call, we do a little count of animals in our care. And who knew that we have 63 fosters out there with cats?
Yeah.
I mean, this is all brand new territory to us in the last few years. And it's amazing the number of cats that have come through us.
love.
I mean,
Gina.
exciting. I do think we had some of our longer term residents get adopted this year too, which was a super big highlight. My one of my favorites was Green Bean from the Little Red
Me too.
Bar. So, I mean, he was with us 541 days. Just cute little senior easygoing gentleman, but he had some back issues and arthritis and affected his mobility, and he was going to need long-term meds. So it just took a longer time to find the perfect fit for him, but um, we did, and it things like that are just, really make it worthwhile. What, the hours and the time you put in, seeing that is just everything.
I love those social posts of rolling out the red carpets and really celebrating them. If you need a pick me up in your day, just go to Always and Forever Facebook page and find the videos of the long-term residents getting adopted out.
Yeah.
They're so they get to my heart. Okay, this one I'll give you some time to think about if needed. In one or two words, how would you describe 2025 with Always and Forever?
Okay, two words: terrifying. It was probably the most change.
Judy, that's one word.
Yeah, no, that's one word. Terrifying and absolutely incredible. I mean, the fact that we pulled it off, I think we had more literal change happen this year than we ever have,
Mhm.
and it was amazing. And we have had so many happy moments and successes, even though it was definitely terrifying at times.
Those are good ones.
I mean, I would just say it's been an adventure for sure. Um, Definitely a wild ride, but a lot of success stories.
Okay, my two words would be miracles and change.
I think crushed it. No notes. And I think Judy with yours too of that is the truth of rescue and why we have this podcast, the doggone truth about rescue is that it's not always the success stories. So the terrifying parts make the successes so much sweeter. So good job. 2026. What are we thinking? What are we envisioning?
More lighthouses at Casey Mo.
More terrifying.
More terrifying.
Yep.
More of a wild ride. Buckle up.
Yep.
Yep. Continuing what we do on a much bigger scale, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do we think Homestead East?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what we've learned through this year has totally changed. Had we had the funds and the permits to begin Homestead East at the beginning of this year, when we thought we would be seeing a completely different direction. But because of our experience out with the Oz lighthouses, I mean, our plans have changed multiple times, but I'm confident that what we'll come out with is going to be something that really works wonderfully. And I'm hoping that it's probably not going to be 2026, but part of all of that is our own on-site vet clinic. And that is where it will be eventually. But we'll start with the fact of being able to move our dogs up there. And then that'll be the next step. Probably won't be 26, but we'll be working toward it.
Jane, finances 2026. What do we need? We got to put a big number in the universe.
We just need to, um, we just need our supporters to just continue what they're doing. It's just also amazing. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways we can grow. But you know, it 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 is, I don't know what, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to cut that. I was totally
I can
stumbling.
cut that out.
Um, Financially, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to do a number for that, really. I mean, if we could get $10 million, I mean, that would be amazing.
Say it. You never know who's
We
listening.
can, yeah, we could do a lot of good with it, that's for sure.
Kathy, 2026 Wichita.
Um, I think just continuing the path that we're on. We've got such great support from volunteers. We've been able to get things kind of working with the staff that we have there now, and people feeling confident. I think the I think we'll probably add a few more kennels down there as my bet, just because right now we have space for 10 senior dogs, and yet we're still wanting more and more. And I was just thinking when Jane was talking about $10 million, it's like if we got $10 million, we'd spend every nick of it and still wouldn't be enough. It's like it doesn't matter what the number is. We grow our dream to go along with whatever number we can pull out of our hat, and so um, it, it's always a wild ride, but I think we're so innovative in what we do. And I think the fact that we are in Wichita and we are actually now bona fide stakeholders in the city um, gives us a little more room to try to make change there. But I also think that we're going to need a 5-year plan, and hopefully down the road, our 5-year plan will be owning our own land there that we can develop lighthouses on. But for now, what we're doing with the space that we have there is pretty phenomenal, and took it down pretty fast. So we've got a 5-year lease there. So um, this year we're just going to keep on. It's all good.
We still need to make a drive down and visit, go play some pickleball.
Absolutely. Well, that's the other thing. Pickleball needs to get going.
Yes.
Big time.
Jen and her pickleball.
Yeah. We did injure one of our volunteers playing pickleball against Jen, but at the grand opening. But she's okay. She healed up. But you know, she, Jen's very competitive.
No, fine.
I wouldn't play her, that's for sure. But yeah, we need to get the pickleball court up because that's going to be a really great opportunity for us to um, have the community in and be just part of, our celebrations and stuff. And I think we'll be able to do some of our adoption events there. And, granted, that pickleball court is Jen's and Jen's alone, but she generously allows us to use it and abuse it. So it's fun. It's real fun.
Perfect. Any other thoughts, questions?
I just have one thought. There's one constant over all these. It feels like a lifetime, but it's only been 7 years. But over all these years, there's one constant that remains: is people are excited about what we do, and one of the reasons they're excited is it is a happy thing to be involved with. I was just having lunch with my husband and some old coworkers. And this coworker, of course, we brought up Always and Forever because you can't have lunch with me and not get the program. And this guy said, well, my wife would love to do that, but she wants to work with animals, but it's really too sad working with a place like that. And I just came out of my seat, and so did my husband, and say, this is a happy place. This will make you feel good. This is doing good things. And that's a constant that's remained with us through the whole thing. No matter how difficult it is, people want to be a part of this because it does make you happy. You are feeling like you're doing something good every day for the world by doing this, by being involved with us.
Did you invite them out to Oz so she could see the lighthouses and how the landscape is changing?
Oh yes, I've got Dave's got a script to work off of now. I have nothing to do with this. He's doing his own little PR campaigns too. So,
But also to that point, one of the funnest parts about my job is that I get the mail and just the notes that people send, just the notes of appreciation, for what we do, and kind of sometimes they share their stories, and it's just it's all very encouraging and very inspiring, just to hear those things and that people do notice and want to be involved. It's because we have really come a long ways in 7.5 years.
So true. Sai?
Let's give a shout out to our Wichita furry friends. Kathy, is there a dog or cat that you would like us to have on our cover photo for our episode? If so, can you tell us a little about he, she?
Oh gosh, I'm torn between two of them. Either Lily or Santana. Let's do Santana just because it's an interesting story. Santana came to us. We were contacted by a woman in an apartment complex that said there's a dog here that's been left by its family and they're gone. And it's like, well, what happened to them? It's like, well, they were deported. And poor old Santana had been there for a week or so. And we said, yeah, we'll take him. And we got him into a foster immediately, temporarily. He's now in the shelter again. He came back to us. He needed to be neutered because he liked to hump every other dog around. But hopefully we're towards the end of that. But Santana is really interesting because I call him our Spanish speaking dog because he knows his commands in Spanish. And we didn't realize that until one of our Spanish speaking volunteers came and started speaking to him in Spanish, and all of a sudden he was understanding. And so I thought that was pretty cool. He's a great big old bulldog mix, and he's the only male with all the rest females down there at the Wichita um, site. So he gets a lot of attention, to say the least. But
Oh God, he is the perfect one. I just looked up his photo on the website and he has the most droopy, lovable
yeah,
face. Oh, and actually, we've been having a really good track record on our cover dogs. We had Moose on, who's found a new home. We had Green Bean on. We had Sally on, that has now found a new home. So this could be, just saying. Oh, look at his face.
I want them all though to get homes right now. But yeah, they're all great dogs, and the staff down there just love on them totally like they are their own. And you know what Judy said about people leaving feeling good. You leave there feeling really good. I was there for our little Christmas get together last weekend, and it's so fun. It's so great. So
We'll make it down. Well, I want to thank the three of you for coming on and sharing your stories and
mhm.
sight of the year. We're going to have you back on. Let's do like a 6 month check-in. I feel like this is the group that we need to be like, where are we at with everything? Give us the scoop and inside. And Judy, then we can have nicer weather out and go to a patio afterwards. But
And wine and some wine.
But your work does not go unnoticed, and I hope you know how much it is appreciated and the time and dedication that goes into this. We can't thank you enough. So, Sai?
As always, it's never too late for a happily ever after.